Good afternoon, everyone. I want to jump on here and get you guys a quick message, give you an update, maybe answer some questions I know you guys have on a few things. So I just wanted to get here and get you a quick message so you guys have all the information you need. First thing I want to touch on is the fundraiser that we've got out there. We covered everything with the young men at the retreat, and it's going to be heavily. We need a heavy involvement from them on this. First and foremost, I wanted to first tell you guys why we're doing the fundraiser, what it's for, what it's going to cover, and how it's going to make your lives a lot easier. But first thing is, obviously we have with the new schedule this year, with stepping up our schedule and traveling and doing some of the things that we're going to do with our schedule from this point moving forward, we need to raise some money to travel. It's very, very expensive to travel. The amount of kids that we need to travel, it takes a lot of funding to do that. And it's something as a football program that we have to go out and raise so that the school doesn't have to raise the money for the football team here. So we're raising it for travel. Like that's number one. But beyond that, there's changes that I want to make within our program. So I've talked to the young men on the team all year and the coaches about taking the next step. Taking the next step as players, taking the next step as young men, taking the next step as coaches. We also need to take the next step as a football program. And in order to do that, we've got to do some things. There's some things that we have to do differently. So pre-game meals, post-game meals, post-workout meals, drinks, fluids, the things that right now we ask all of you parents to take care of. So the pre-game meal, every young man, when they go to Cascones for their pregame meal, has to bring $12. I want to get rid of that. I don't want to do that. I want us as a football program to be able to cover that for all of our football players. Post-game meals, when we're traveling and things that we get our young men post-game, when we have meals and things like that, we want to take care of that. We don't want you parents at the end of the year, and you parents that have been here know at the end of the year, we come to the banquet and I owe $123 in post-game meals and Gatorade and whatever else that I owed money for the year. I want to get rid of that. I don't, it's number one for Cheryl to have to manage that and cover that. I don't want that to have to happen. But first and foremost, it's the step that we need to take as a program. If we want to take that next step and be an elite program, I think these are things that we just need to cover as a football program so that our young men and our parents don't have to worry about it during season, in season, at the end of the year. So what these funds are going to cover is we're going to have two different fundraisers this year. This first one is what I'm going to cover in detail today, but that's why. It's to raise money for our travel. It's so that we can feed these kids. So the post-game Gatorades, we don't have to worry about parents bringing up Gatorades. It's just something that we could take care of as a football program. And many, many more things other than that, and it's going to allow us to do some things as a football program that we haven't been able to do in the past, just because of limitations, and having to worry about how are we going to pay for this and how are we going to pay for that. So it's part of us taking the next step. So that's why we're doing this. And I want to make sure I communicate that with you all so because we need you to be involved. We need you as parents. We're going to ask your boys to be very involved. Everybody take pride in this, and this is part of us taking the next step as a football program. And so I wanted to make sure you guys know what that's going to cover. If you have any questions with what it's covering, but it's my idea is so that, hey, now you as parents, you don't have to worry about anything, and you're not having to come up with anything or bring Gatorade here or bring money to the banquet, anything like that. It covers everything for you, for your son, so that you're not having to come out of pocket for anything. But in order to do that, we do need to raise some money. So the next thing is who's doing the fundraiser. So every single player, every player on our roster has been asked to show up tomorrow with 25 names and either phone numbers or email addresses. We want the phone numbers. If we can get email addresses, that's great, but either or is fine too. But we've asked each player to get 25 names. They have a sheet of paper that they need to write their name, the name of somebody that would donate to them, what this particular fundraiser is, it's just going to be a communication to that person. Hey, please support Joey on our football team. Will you please support him, help his football team raise money? Here's his goals. And so that's just going to go out to, friends, family, extended family, people in your lives that you think would be on board to help your son raise some money. With that being said, it's so every player on our team is going to be asked to do that, and we've asked them to be prepared tomorrow morning with those sheets in hand. So with that being said, there's this is not this fundraiser that we're doing, this email and this texting fundraiser. This is not a punishment-based fundraiser. Like, we're not going to say, hey, Joey, you have to raise $1,000 or else you owe us this. No, we're not doing that. This is an incentive-based program, and Matt Kuhn has put this together and kind of done all the legwork with this, and he's come up with some great prize packs for these young men, and there's different levels. We would love a goal, okay? The goal is, love to see every kid at least raise $300. Like, that is, every kid, we'd love them to raise $300, but if they raise more, there's different prize packs, and it goes up to $1,500. And Matt Kuhn has put together some awesome prizes, and we've shared that with the young men, what the prizes are, and we've got pictures of them and all that. So they get some pretty cool stuff. The more money they raise, the more items they get. So it's not a punishment-based program; it's an incentive-based program, and I think it's going to work out well. And hopefully, it entices our young men to go out there and try to raise some money for us. So what this first email is, what this first fundraiser is. 25 emails, phone numbers. We need them by tomorrow, and that's the gist of it. And we will do the rest. You guys will not have to be texting or messaging anybody. This is going to be, we've got a program that we're going to use specifically for our young men. They're going to take care of it tomorrow morning at practice. So it's not going to be something that you have to go out and do. So that's for this fundraiser. The next one, we're going to have more details on it. But the next one is going to be, it's a little different fundraiser. So every young man's going to get tickets to sell. Every family will have tickets to sell, and we'll have details on that. But that's going to be the two fundraisers that we're going to do this year to raise the money that we think we need to raise. And in order to do this correctly, in order to travel correctly, in order to be able to feed your boys year round, because one of the things I want to do is, after our workouts all year round, I want to be able to provide these boys with some type of nutrition, okay? Some protein shakes, some snacks, some things that we can give them as they're leaving the weight room. That's something that I feel like we need to do. So this is going to be for a year round. Like, we're going to be taking care of these young men year round, taking care of their needs, and getting the program where we think it needs to be. So between these two fundraisers, we're really hoping to raise between $40,000 to $50,000. If we can raise more, that's great. It'll allow us to do some other things in the off season too. But there's many things that this can go towards. I know we like to get together as a team, and we like to do things as groups: O-line, D-line, offense, defense, and a lot of times the coaches just end up paying for all that stuff. And that's something that I don't want to ask them to do anymore. I want them to be able to coach. They donate enough time. They don't get paid. They don't get paid much at all. And they're here for your boys, and I don't want to keep asking them to come out of their pockets. So it will allow us to do things like that and do it more frequently and freely. So that's why we're doing the fundraisers. That's a little detail on this initial one, but tomorrow, for the immediate future here, tomorrow your son needs to show up to practice with his sheet filled out with 25 names. There's slots on there for 50. If you can get 50, that's great, because the goal is, if they can raise $1,500, then they get all the prize pack. So they get all of the prize packs, and hopefully they want to do that. So the more names, obviously, the more opportunity you have to raise more money. And so don't stop at 25. If there's 40 people you can contact, let's put them on that list so we can contact them and go raise some money for this program, and hopefully in your son's name. And there will be a leaderboard on this system that we have, and so you're going to be able to see who's raising the most, and hopefully we have a little competitive spirit there. But that's it for the fundraisers. I wanted to get that out. I know Cheryl's been getting a lot of questions And, we did cover this all in detail with the young men, but I know, sometimes we don't have the best communication skills when it comes to communicating with parents. And I get that. I've got a couple of 19 and 18-year-olds that struggle with communication. So I get that completely. The next thing I wanted to touch, because I know we're getting quite a bit of questions on Texas, on the trip to Texas, who's traveling, who's not traveling, where are we going, where are we staying? Let me start with, the travel roster. This is a tough one. I know it's tough when we have travel games like this, but travel rosters, usually I don't put those out early. Number one, because I don't know who it is right now. We give these young men every opportunity to earn their way into the depth chart, onto the travel roster. And this being a trip, we're going to be probably more limited than we are. Whereas if we're going across town, we can travel 75 kids and be fine. Traveling down to Texas, we're not going to have the capability to travel 75 kids unless we're able to raise a bunch of money. And so that roster is going to be kind of slim with who's traveling. And I know you're asking, I don't have it, and I'm not going to have it because what I don't want to do is put a travel roster out there and then at the last minute have to take a young man off of it that thought he was on it, because these things change. So there's a lot of competition in practice right now. Young men are working their way up the depth chart. Young men are working their way down the depth chart. I like to go, hey, who's working hard, who's showing up, who's doing the things they need to do. A lot of times there's spots for that, but the idea is, hey, these young men need to work their way into depth, onto that depth chart. If you got to be in a rotation, you got to be in depth. That's what we call it on the football field. If you want to travel. And, it's going to be pretty much like that for this travel game going to Texas. So I don't have the travel roster. We're not planning on suiting any freshmen up. But once again, I don't want to completely say that, because if a young man steps up and has a great couple weeks, you never know, right? And, and that's you just kind of leave that open. But we're not planning on traveling any freshmen. That would be that somebody's got to really step up and show us something there. But we are going to be taking coach buses to Texas. We've got 2 buses scheduled. We've got hotel rooms booked. The hotel, something I've always done is with our football team, I don't tell anybody where we're staying. I don't even tell the coaches. So they don't know. It is, we try to stay, at our own place. We don't want, a bunch of students coming up there and distracting the young men. We've got our hotel rooms booked. They'll be with us when we leave Friday morning. We'll be together all the way down there, and then we'll get a detailed, I will get a very detailed itinerary out to everybody before we go as we get closer. But yes, we will all travel down there together. I know there's been some questions. Hey, can you sign my son out on the way back? Yes, I will do that on this trip. Typically, I don't. I love traveling to and back as a team. I still want to do that. I'm going to ask you, unless it's, you've got family down here and you guys are staying and doing something, I'm not going to sign people out just so they can stay a night, with their buddies. I'm absolutely not going to do that. I still want everybody to travel back, but I understand this is a once in a lifetime thing, or it's a rare thing that happens, and great opportunity. So if you've got plans with the family and stuff like that, I will sign your son out so that he can stay with you in Texas for a night. But I am pushing. I want everybody to travel. I do want to stay as a team, travel there and back together. So that's just something I've always liked to do. But that's the gist. There'll be more details coming out on that. I know there's a lot of questions, and it's good. It's great that we have this opportunity, because it's great that we have these questions, because we've got such a great opportunity to go do this. There's a lot of logistics involved, and it's going to be a great experience for all of our young men. Now, just because you're not traveling with the team down to Texas doesn't mean we don't want you there. So that's something to where, like with all of our upperclassmen, if you're not on the travel roster, okay, I always allow, just so like, if we're going somewhere else, you can be with us on the sideline. You would just have to get yourself down there and show up at a time and place that I give you, as we get closer. And that is for upperclassmen. That's sophomore through senior, because, I would love to see everybody on that sideline. Unfortunately, it's just going to be very difficult for us to raise the amount of money that we need to travel, 85, 90 kids. If we can do it, then that'd be great too. So that'd be a great surprise for everybody. So just be flexible with me on the Texas trip and the travel roster. I know, because there's kids that don't know. It's tough in the summer to get a feel for, hey, am I in the rotation? Because we do so many different groups and we rotate so many different kids in the summertime. So it's tough because, we're still evaluating as coaches. We're still moving things daily around. And depth charts continue to change daily with us as coaches. So I don't want to put anything out to you guys that's not going to be correct. It's because I don't ever want to put a young man in that situation. So that's that. I hope that answers some questions with, hey, why are we doing this fundraiser? Okay, some questions about Texas. So hopefully, if you do have any other questions, Cheryl does a great job. Ask her. She'll group the questions together. She'll get with me, and then we'll get them all answered for you. But that's the gist. So please help us with this fundraiser. This money is going straight to your sons, and it's going straight to the football program. It's getting this football program where it needs to be so that we can operate in a way that I feel like a first-class football program needs to operate. And it's good. There's going to be some change involved, and it's going to make your lives a lot easier in the long run, I promise you, so that hey, you're going to send your boy off to football, and he's going to be taken care of. He's going to be fed. He's going to have plenty of fluids, and they're going to be able to take care of him. So that's why we're doing this. We're doing it for your boys and for their experience, so that they can have a great experience with us here. Any questions, feel free to reach out, ask Cheryl, and she'll get with me. So thank you. I appreciate all your guys' time. Just on a real quick note, touching on last weekend, the retreat was one of the best things that I've ever been involved in, and a lot of player-led activities, and it was inspiring. It was just one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of, and my entire life, playing, coaching, just seeing some of the spiritual growth that our young men have had, and it was truly a special weekend. I hope they had a great time. I think it looks like they did. I know we got a lot of great work done as a team, and it was just a great 24 hours. And I want to thank you guys for all the donations, for the food, for the snacks, and for the drinks. It was great, and they ate plenty of snacks, and they drank plenty of Gatorade and water. So appreciate all you guys did for that, and appreciate you trusting us with your boys, your young men, and man, it was a great weekend. But we had a lot of growth, and it's a special group of young men, special group of coaches, and I couldn't be more excited about the year ahead. So thank you guys for everything. Look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.